Wow. Where do I start? Well, let's just say I love all things money. I love all things finance. Let's do this. Okay. I love all things money, all things finance, and some of us, we're naturally, we all have our own talents. Some of us are naturally good at certain things, and others, we just learn as we go. So from a very, very, very early age, I found myself loving to save money, right? And a lot of times my siblings, my cousins, family members, they would naturally come to me for advice, and it seemed very easy to me, like, why, like, how come people are not doing this? But it really struck me when I came to the States, and I started going to school over here, and a lot of my colleagues and classmates, they were all graduating with huge student loan, and I was like, well, how? Like, didn't you guys save? And so, long story short, I realized that this was more than just me doing something right, and it's something that I see that people were struggling with. So, um, I mean, we're faith based. We believe in God, and I've always asked, for God to use me, um, with my gifts and my talents. And I didn't know where that would lead me to, but I can honestly and truly say that there's an anointing on my life when it comes to helping families understand and win the money game. I spoke to a client of mine today. He was one of my very, very first client back in 2018, and the things that I take for granted because it seems so easy and effortless for me, I realized today that, wow, like, these are things that people are truly struggling with, understanding how much money they're going to have when they're ready to retire, right? Just knowing how do you calculate? How do you calculate how much you're going to have when you're 65, right? And what you currently have, how certain is it that it's going to be there when you're 65 or whatever age is your retirement age? And so mapping out this gentleman financial life in the future, I mean, it just really hit me that, there's a lot that people don't know when it comes to money. We're going to our jobs every day and we're making a paycheck, and we might be saying, well, I have a pension, so I'm going to be good. Well, guess what? I had him look into his online portal today, and his pension, as we speak today, is going to pay him $2,600. So you ask yourself, can $2,600 pay all of your expenses? Right? Whether you have a mortgage or a rent, can 2,600 pay all of your expenses and still have extra to live? Right? So it's not enough. So thankfully, I'm working with him, and he's got about 20 years to go, and we're going to put things in place to make sure that he has not only a stream of income in retirement, but multiple streams of income in retirement besides his pension. To God be the glory. So, with that being said, there's some things that the wealthy people know that most of us, we could go through our entire life, including my own parents, and they did pretty good. They worked very hard. They saved money. They saved money in the bank. They saved money in a susu. But today, to God be the glory, I am their retirement. My mom and my brother, for those of you who know, they can lack nothing. As long as I have it, they have it. And it's a blessing because my mom could call me 5 times, and she doesn't even call my other siblings anymore because she know it's going to be, I don't have it, or they're going to be running, not taking the calls. And I do not take it lightly that my parents could call on me, and they know that I'm going to be there for them. And so money is not everything, but I will tell you, it can do a lot of things, right? It can do a lot of things. And so, we have to be good steward over our money, but it first starts with education. And being a professor myself, I see this in the academics. We don't teach personal finance. Even if you're going to school for finance, they're not going to prepare us to manage your own finance. They're going to prepare you to go get a job working at a financial firm, but how does that parlay to your own money? Right? So today, I'm going to share with you. We say it's basic, but most people, these are concepts that they've never, even my family coming from a business background. Like my aunt said yesterday at our meeting, in my office. Like, I mean, she's done business all her life, but this knowledge, this information is like even people who are business owners, would have doesn't really see the correlation or they've never learned these things. So we're going to talk about 3 rules to money, right? What are those rules and how does it impact your own life, right? So the first rule is what we call rule of 72. That is compound interest. How many of you have heard the word compound interest? If you've heard compound interest, put a 1 in the chat. Let's see. Okay, right. Okay. So we've heard about it, right? But how does that impact your money? Let's put that into dollars, right? How does it affect your money, whether you're going to have a lot of money or not have a lot of money? Because in some way, shape, or form, it's affecting all of us. So compound interest is you take the number 72 and you're going to divide that by the rate of return. That is the interest. So let's say you're getting 4% interest. 72 divided by 4 is 18 years, right? So compound interest tells you how many years it's going to take your money to double. So if you have 4%, it takes 18 years. So let's say you have a newborn, right? Newborn, just a couple days old, right? And during your pregnancy, during the shower, people blessed you with money. And you realize that, wow, I got $10,000. I'm going to put it aside for little Johnny, right? So by the time little Johnny is 18, he's got some money to go to college. Well, at 4%, wherever you're putting it, it's going to take 18 years to double. 18 years. So now Johnny's ready to go to college. He's got 20,000. So you might be saying, well, I did good because my money grew, right? Yeah, you did good. You grew it. Now the 18 years roll around, it doubles again. Now Johnny is 36 years old. His money grew to 40,000. Again, it grew, right? Now let's go to the far right. What if you were getting 12%? Well, now it's only taking 6 years to double. So every 6 years, your money is doubling. So let's say 2 of us, right? Let me just pick a random name. Let's say Janelle Waters and I are both friends, and we both got our bouncing baby boy or girl, right? And then we meet up like 36 years later, and we're like bragging about our kids. And I'm telling Janelle, girl, my baby boy did so well. He's sitting on over $500,000. He started his career. He's got a business. He graduated from wherever. And he's amassed a pretty nice, sizable, portfolio of $640,000. And Janelle says, what? How is that? And we both got, we both gave birth at the same time. And we were both saving the same money. We started off both with $10,000. And my son only has 40,000. Well, what interest did you get? What interest did you get? One got 4% and the other got 12%. So the higher the interest when you're saving or growing or investing your money, the higher the interest, the more your money's going to double because it's going to take lesser time. So rule number 1, we've got to put our money in accounts where the interest is high enough. And you want it to be higher than inflation, cost of living, right? Because the person who's getting 4%, yeah, their money is growing too, but it's not going to do a lot. Now, if you know this, you're going to make money. How? You're going to be more cognizant of where you're putting your money to grow. You're going to go for accounts that are going to give you high interest. Now, on the flip side, when you are borrowing money or you have a loan or a debt, you want it to be on the other side to lower the interest. So when you're borrowing, you want a less interest when you're growing and saving your money, you want high interest, because the higher the interest, the more money you'll make. Now, if you have a credit card, student loan, mortgage, or any debt, who's making money? Are you making money off of the credit card, or the credit card making money off of you? With regards to your mortgage, are you making money off of that mortgage, or the mortgage is making money off of you? How? Well, when you have a 30-year mortgage, are you going to take the whole 30 years to pay it off? If you are, they're making money off of you, right? Your student loan, if you're not paying the interest and you're pushing it off, well, you're just snowballing your debt. So when it comes to all forms of loan, you want to make sure that you do this math. Take 72 divided by whatever the interest rate that the loan is, and pay it off before it doubles. Pay it off before it doubles. So many people are in debt, credit card debt, student loan debt, and they have no idea how to get out of debt. They're just throwing spaghettis on the wall. Put $100 here, $200 here, $50 here, or don't even pay nothing at all. You're going to stay longer in debt because compound interest is working against you. Right? So we want to make money, and we want to put our money to go make more money. So you work your job, you make money at your job, and then you're going to put some money in accounts and let compound interest work for you and not against you. And all of your debts, your credit card, your mortgage, your student loan, any form of debt, you want to call the company, find out what is your interest rate, and do the math. 72 divided by whatever is the interest rate, and pay it off before it doubles. Right? Compound interest can make it or break it. Right? Second rule to money is, how is your money growing? Right? So if you have a job, and let's say you get paid and you put that money in the bank, which is where all of us have our money. This is where all of us, when we get paid, right, your direct deposit from your bank, from your job is going straight to your bank. There's a reason why it's set up that way. There is a reason why it's set up that way. It's going to go straight to your bank. And most people will leave it at their bank. But it's not supposed to stay in your bank forever. The bank is just a holding place to take it first. And then you're going to redistribute it to other buckets where it's going to grow at a higher interest. Why? How much is the bank giving you in interest? Does anybody know? What is the average interest on savings bank account? Hardly any, right? Less than 1%. Less than 1%. Less than 1%. So let's go back to rule of 72. Let's just round that off to 1% for simple math. 72 divided by 1% is what? 72 years. 72 years. So it's going to take your money in the bank. If you're getting 0.0, it's even longer. So we're just going to keep it to 1% for easy math, which most banks are not even giving 1%, right? So money in the bank is going to have you broke. Money in the bank will have us all broke. This is why I wrote my third book. This is why you're broke, right? So money in the bank is safe, but you're on the safe bus to being broke. It's not going to grow much because of the interest. You put your money in the market, stock market, right? And now it's going to go up and down. You could make money and you could lose money. You're going to make money and you're going to lose money. There is no way you can control your future financially, because you might be rich today because the market went up and you made money. But what about when the market go down? What if you were scheduled to retire or send your kids to college in 2008 or 2020? How was your accounts looking for those years? Not good, right? Because the market was down almost 40%. If you were scheduled to retire that year, well, now you got to keep working longer because you just lost about 40% of your investment. So with variable accounts, your money's going to go up and down. It is what it is. So these accounts are typically any money in the stock market, which we all have accounts with money in the stock market, especially if you have a job that's giving you a 401k, 403b, IRA. All of those accounts are in the market. So it's going to do just like this EKG graph, up and down. There's no way you can control your future with up and down because you have no idea how much you're going to get or how much you even have with this environment. The third place how your money could grow is you could put it with index in. And now when you put it in these types of accounts, you're going to get, number one, higher interest. You're not going to get no 1%, no 2%, no 3%. Typically, index accounts are about 8 to 10% average. And you're not going to get this at your bank either, right? So with index accounts, you have safety on your money, just like the bank, and you have growth on your money, just like the stock market. So you've got the best of both worlds. You got safety and you got growth. And because you have safety that you'll never lose and you have growth that your money is growing, well, now you can control your future. So my client that I spoke with today, I had him log into his portal account online, and I said, you will never ever log in and see what you have today less. You will never ever log into your account online and see, okay, today I have 10,000, and then another time you see less than 10,000. Never, 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 ever. That's how you control your future financially. You know that your money is growing and you know that your money is safe. Can we say that with the stock market? No. You could log into your 401k statements today and maybe it's up, but is it going to be up next week, next month, next year? No guarantee. Absolutely none. So rule number one, yes, we got to compound the money. We want the money to double in a shorter space of time. So we're going to look for accounts that has a high interest, because we know the higher the interest, the more your money is going to double, the less times it takes, right? The second rule to money is you want to, as you're growing it, you want to protect it. And they don't teach this in school. A lot of us might be growing it, but we're also losing in the process. It's up and down. No. We want to make sure that it's only going in one direction, up. No up and down, right? So we got to protect it as we're saving. The third rule to money deals with taxes. And boy, they really got us bad here, because nobody understands taxes. Even the tax professional, even the CPAs, right? They're good at what they're good at, but there's other sectors that, they were just never taught, right? So when it comes to taxes, when you and I get paid, we pay tax. We have no choice. It is what it is. That's how the system is set up. You pay tax when you get paid, and then you put your money in these types of accounts. They're called tax now accounts. So checking, savings, CD stocks, mutual funds. As the money grow in these types of accounts, well, guess what? Any growth, you're going to pay tax on it. It's called capital gain tax. Second bucket is your tax later 401k. How many of you in the chat? Put in the chat who has what do you have? Do you have a 401k, a 403b, a 450? What does your job offer you for retirement accounts? Put in the chat, what does your job offer you for retirement accounts? Right? It could be a 401k, it could be a 403b, it could be a 457, it could be an IRA. What does your job offer you for these retirement savings accounts? Okay, I see Robbie said 401, Janelle said 403, 401, 401. Oh, we've got a lot of 401. Mariah Johnson, 401, Karen, 457, TSB. Okay, they all work the same, right? Depending on what type of job you have, if it's a nonprofit, a for-profit, they all operate the same, right? In terms of taxes, when you have these accounts, you do not pay tax in the beginning. So you get paid, you don't pay tax when you put the money in these accounts. So the way they sell it to us, and this is why I'm here to educate us, the way our jobs and the government sells us this concept is, don't pay tax today. Put this money in these accounts, and later on when you're ready to retire, then you're gonna pay the tax. Sounds fair, right? Don't pay tax today. Pay it later. Now, let's think about this. As a farmer, would you want to pay tax on the seed, or would you want to pay tax on the harvest? Would you want to pay tax on the seed, the little money, or would you want to pay tax on the harvest? Right? Everybody's saying seed, right? I would rather pay tax on the seed, because now when I take those seed and I go plant it, and I have a farm, a field of mangoes, I don't want to pay tax on all of the mangoes that I'm going to go sell now, right? I don't know how much mango trees. I could have a field of mangoes. I don't want to pay tax on the harvest. But the way they sell it to us, we don't see it that way. So most people, when they save money in these accounts, which is a good thing that we're saving money, but let's understand the tax implications down the road. Next question. Do we think tax is going to go up or down 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now? Or even 10 years from now? What do you guys think? Do you think tax are going to go up or down? Fluctuate. Right? So I like to show people this website, right? Because again, this is a financial education workshop, right? So for the folks that says it's going to go down, right, or it's going to fluctuate, which is, it could seems like a fair assumption that it could fluctuate. I'm going to share this website, which is a government website. It's called US. Does anybody know the website that I'm about to share? Right? You don't? Okay, you're about to find out. And you can check this out for yourself. Right? It's called USDebtClock.org. Right? The USDebtClock.org. Why is this important to know? Well, do we see a lot of red or do we see a lot of green? Do we see a lot of red or a lot of green? And what does red mean when it comes to finance? Is red a good thing for finance or a bad thing for finance? Right? So The US national debt, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, 36 trillion. Okay, let's do the math. The US national debt is $36 trillion, and the US federal tax revenue is $5 trillion. Make this make sense, because the math ain't mathing, right? Make this make sense, because the math ain't mathing, right? You owe 36 trillion, but you only making 5 trillion. I mean, we're broke, right? As a country, we're broke, right? As a country, we are broke. So how do we undo this? Well, it's all going to come from taxes. How does a country make money? It's all going to come from taxes. Taxes has to increase. This number, like, no, like, I mean, we believe in God, but the math has to make sense. So you see, when you have money in these accounts, right? Your 401k, 403b, that is a catastrophe waiting to happen. This is a ticking time bomb. All this money in these accounts, you don't even know how much in taxes you're going to pay in the future. So the bigger question is, how much do you get to keep? How much do you get to keep? If you got $1 million in your 401k, you did not pay tax on that $1 million. So how much do you get to keep is the bigger questions we should be asking ourselves. But then again, I mean, we can't ask the questions if we don't have information, right? US, somebody put it in the chat. It's usdebtclock.org. It is a government website. usdebtclock.org. And it is racing, okay? It is racing. It is running. I don't know when we're going to catch up with that 36 trillion in debt. It is racing. The red is racing more than the green. So make this make sense, right? So when I got introduced to this information back in 2017, I understood immediately I can't be just stacking my 401k anymore. I cannot be stacking my 401k anymore, because I have to pay tax. How much? I don't know. I don't know how much I'm going to pay in taxes when I'm 65. And as long as you have any variable of being unknown, you ain't controlling your future financially. As long as there any variable of unknown when it comes to your finance, you are not in control. I don't want you guys to be 65 and you thought woulda, shoulda, coulda had more money, but you did not know or understood how taxes is going to eat away at some of your 401k, 403b, IRA, 457 TSP. And because everybody is doing this, we all think it's okay to lose money and to pay more in taxes in the future. But I'm here to tell you it's not okay. There's a better way, and I'm going to show you the better way. It's not okay to lose money. It's never okay to lose money, even if you have a lot of money. Why would you want to waste it? Tax-free accounts is where you want your money to be. You want to leverage your money with these types of accounts from a tax perspective. I'm sure many of you have heard Roth IRA. If you've heard about a Roth IRA, put a 1 in the chat. Yeah, we all know about a Roth, right? So Roth is tax-free. That's a good account to start with. that's a very good account. So if you've got a Roth at your job, yes, put money in the Roth IRA instead. Max fund the Roth IRA instead. If you're under 50, it's 7,500. If you're over 50, I think it's 8,000. So that's the first thing you're going to do. You're still saving, but now you're saving smarter. You're going to max fund your Roth every year. Because if you don't max fund it 1 year, you cannot play catch up and go back. So if you got 10 more years to retire, make sure every year you are putting the maximum allowed in your Roth IRA. Because if you don't put the maximum, let's say for 2024 that just ended, there's no way you can go back and put it after 2025 is gone, after tax season is over. You can't play catch up. And the reason why the government limits us, can somebody tell me, why does the government limit us on how much money we can put in these accounts, in the Roth? Why is the government limiting us? Because they can't tax it. Got you. Got you, got you, got you. So you see, as long as we don't know, we get a blindsided rob. If you don't have knowledge, financial knowledge, they're not going to say, hey, do this versus this. Because as long as we don't know, they're going to make money off of you. So Roth IRA is good, but from a tax perspective, well, what about stock market risk? Well, you're still going to lose when the market goes down, right? So there's pros and cons. 529 college saving plan. Who has a 529 college saving for their kids? Just type 529 in the chat. If you have a 529 for your kids, go ahead and say it in the chat. 529, 529. If you have a 529 for your kids. Okay, so far just one person. Good. So I'm going to talk about a 529. The good thing is we're saving money, right? We're saving money for the kids. But what if this child decides they don't want to go to college? What happens? If they don't want to go to college, what happens? Can we still use the money? What's going to happen to that money if the child doesn't want to go to college? You get hit with a penalty. You're going to get hit with a whopping penalty. Why? Because these accounts are for college. So yeah, we want our kids to go to college, but let's be honest, not every kid is going to be college material, right? There's a lot of people that are successful and never went to college. So now you get penalized for saving money because your child don't want to go to college. But now let's say they do want to go to college. What happens next? Well, we the educators, we're going to say, you got money. You got money. Use your money. We're not going to give you any money because you got money. So now you literally just disqualify yourself from getting more money. Or should I say free money, right? You just literally disqualify yourself. And we wonder why the rich is getting richer. The rich is getting richer because they're taking advantage of the system and they know this information. So don't get mad when you hear a celebrity is getting their child to go to school for free and you got to pay. Because you see, they're still saving, but they know where to save to not disqualify themselves from getting more money. So when you have a 529 college saving plan, it's good that you're saving, but you do not want to save in a 529 college saving plan because it literally calculates how much money, if any, the school is going to give you. And the minute they hear you got a 529, they ain't giving you nothing. They're just going to say, go use your money. And once it's done, then come back. Right? And is college cheap or expensive? Is college cheap or affordable? Or is it like, listen, I mean, that's really a dumb question because so many students are graduating with the size of a mortgage, right? So many students are graduating with the size of a mortgage in student loans. It's crazy, right? That's a whole nother seminar by itself, right? And then of course, some students don't know what they want to go to school for. They follow their friends. They spend more than 4 years in college because they thought they wanted to do cooking or they thought they wanted to do business, and then they switch their major in the first or second year. They're trying to figure out what they want to do, and they end up spending much longer than 4 years and racking up the debt. And then you get out of college and now you're trying to get a job, and like, how much is the job paying you compared to the student loan you got to pay back, right? Yes, it's expensive. So the other three accounts, executive bonus, long-term care, cash value life insurance, these are all insurance-based products. Now, most people, when they hear the word insurance, they cringe because they think insurance is about the dead. They think insurance is about debt. But you see, the wealthy people understand how money works. The wealthy people understand tax-free. The wealthy people understand risk-free. So they know where to put their money to leverage their money and to build generational wealth. The Bible talks about leaving an inheritance for your kids. How many of us, by show of hand, on this Zoom, that your third generation or your great-great-great-grandmother or even your grandmother passed down wealth to us? Let's start with your grandparents. Let's move up to our great-grandparents. We love them. We're not bashing. But I want you to see where this is going. They didn't do it because they didn't know. Now you and I, we know. So the buck stops with us. We're going to change this narrative. We're going to stop this from happening. You all have the power to change the story. All it takes is one person in the family. So not because your grandparents didn't leave anything for you, you're going to do the same thing. Because they did not know. They simply did not know. They did the best they could in their times. But we're living in the time where technology, where information is at lightning speed, where you have people like myself who know this information and is willing to give it for free. There's no excuse. The buck stops with us. The next generation has to be better because these are better times we're living in. You know, when I used to live back in Guyana, I mean, to just get information, you had to have like an encyclopedia book. Now you could just ask Siri, right? You could just go on your phone and ask Meta. Nothing is hidden. Everything is available. But the more information we have, what do we do with it? Are we implementing it? Yeah, we're going to implement it. That's why we're on this call. So when it comes to building wealth, when it comes to putting yourself in a position to win the money game, you want to make sure that you have an account that is going to index your money. Everything that I'm showing you on this slide, you want to make sure your money's on the right side. You want to make sure your money is on the right side. High interest, 12%. Index account, which means you're never losing when the stock market goes down. Tax-free accounts, which means you ain't gonna pay no money in taxes in the future because you're gonna pay the tax today on the seed. And let that seed go germinate, plant, and make you a field of mangoes or a field of banana. And you ain't gotta pay no tax on all those bananas and mangoes that you're gonna sell. You're still paying your taxes, but you're paying it the smart way because now you know better. So if you want to build generational wealth, if you want to control your future, you want to make sure that you have an index account. And with an index account, the growth on your money is on cap. So for the person who put in the chat, where do we get 12%? This is the account. It's on cap. Forget 12%. It's on cap. What does on cap mean? Whatever the interest is, as high as it can go, nobody can cap it. And why do most of us don't know about it? Because as long as we don't know, guess who's making the money? So why would they tell us? Well, we're going to tell you, right? Your money is also safe. The banks are not even giving you 0.075. The banks are not even giving you that. And now you understand compound interest. Even if the bank was giving you 0.75, you're still going to be broke. Because your money's going to take a long time to double. So what is this 0.75? What does this mean, Odetta? This means that when the stock market goes down and everybody is losing money, you, my friend, not only is not going to lose, but you're going to make money in a downturn. Warren Buffett talks about this strategy. When people are losing, some people are going to make money. He talked about it, right? And then all of this money is tax-free. If you don't understand tax-free, plain and simple, tax-free money means more money. Your 401k is not tax-free. You could have $1 million in your 401k portfolio. The bigger question you should be asking yourself is, how much do I get to keep? Because if you have to pay taxes on your 401k, how much you get to keep? That's what I want to know. How much do I get to keep? All right, we don't know because we have to pay tax. So money in this index account is tax-free at any age. Your 401k is not tax-free at any age. If you try pulling out money from your 401k and you're under 59 and a half, somebody put in the chat, what's going to happen? If you're under 59 and a half and you try taking money out of your 401k, what is going to happen? Let me see if anybody knows. Put it in the chat. If you're under 59 and a half and you try taking money out of your 401k, what is going to happen? Right? You get tax and a penalty because this money is for retirement. This money is for retirement. You get a whopping 10% penalty and you're going to have to pay the taxes. A 10% penalty for touching your own money. Can you imagine? You save your own money and you can't touch it before age 59 and a half. And the reality is, most people will need to touch their money before 59 and a half because life is going to happen, right? It could be an opportunity or it could be an emergency where you just need money, right? One of my clients yesterday, she has this account, Index Universal Life. She is nowhere close to 59 and a half. We jump on a call. She has some stuff going on. And I said, okay, let's talk. Right? Let's talk. And we were able to move 18,500 or 17,500. Either 17 or 18. We're going to move that money back from her index account back to her bank account so she could go take care of her business. No penalty. No penalty. If she had that money in her 401k and she wanted to take out that 18,000 or 17,000, she would be paying a 10% penalty, and the taxes come next year, 2026, right? So it's important to know these things, because life is going to happen, and we may need to touch our money before 59 and a half, right? You may want to use the money for a down payment of a house, buy a property, send your kids to school, start a business. I had a client of mine who works for the Federal Reserve Bank calling me to ask me how can she take money out of her 401k without the tax and penalty. I'm like, girl, you work at the bank. You should know this. There's no way. There's no way around it, right? So tax-free money means more money. Guys, when you understand that tax-free money means more money, that alone is setting you up to win the money game. That alone is setting you up to win the money game. Because if you go to the dollar store right now and the guy said, you know what, you're my friend, don't pay me tax, just take it, just give me the dollar. Just give me the dollar, right? Don't worry with the $1.09. Just give me the dollar. You just saved 9 cents, right? Tax-free money means more money. And then the fourth box, let's talk about leveraging your money. You see, when you and I put money in the bank, or when you and I put money in a 401k, that's all it is. You did not leverage the money. The money you put in the bank didn't do anything for you or give you anything else but $100 in the bank, right? It hasn't been leveraged. But when you put money in your index account, from day one, you get protection on your life. And some people say, well, that I already got life insurance through my job. Well, hold up. Life insurance through your job is a total different thing. Life insurance through your job is either 1 to 3%, 1 to 3% your income. Life insurance through the job has no guarantee that it's going to go with you to the end of time, because when you leave the job, it doesn't go with you. And even if it goes with you, do we think it's going to be enough? It has no cash value. It has no living benefits. So that's just pure burial money, right? Living benefits. What is living benefits? Well, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Are we all human beings? Yes. Can we get sick? Can we get sick? We believe in God. We're going to pray. We're faith-based. But can we get sick? Are we someday going to grow old? To God be the glory. That's a blessing if we're going to grow old. Right? We're human beings. Things are going to start falling apart. Things are going to break down as we get older. Some of us may want to be in a nice nursing home. Some of us may want to be staying at home. That ain't gonna be cheap nor free. So let's plan for the future. We're talking about building generational wealth and controlling our future. There's a study that talks about the people who are in a nursing home versus the people who are sick being cared at home. Guys, which do you think has a longer lifespan and a healthier lifespan? The people at home in their house being cared while sick, or the people in the nursing home? Nursing home or in their home? Nursing home or in their home? Which one? In your home. So if we know in our home we're going to want to be, are we planning for this? Are we planning for when we get old? Where's the money to take care of our health? Or even right now, if we get sick right now with a chronic, critical, or terminal heart attack, cancer, stroke, or any major illness that prevents you and I from doing our day-to-day living activities, eating, bathing, dressing, constant transferring. If we get sick and cannot work for 3 months, 6 months, a year, what do we have in place? Right? These are things to consider. So when you have an index account, you cruising, right? You're absolutely cruising. So what we want to encourage everyone is to save 10% of your income. Understand how to position your money to win the money game. And what you currently have right now and what you've just learned tonight, where do you think your money should be? And with that being said, I'm going to turn it back over to the host. Thank you so very much for your time.
Oh, Jenna, there were two questions that came up that we want to ask you. One question was, and if this question was answered for you, just let me know. It says, where do we find the 12%? Right now, high yield savings is about 4%.
Well, where you're going to find the 12% is with an index account, right? And these index accounts, they're insurance-based products, and you have to apply for it because it's insurance-based. They do have an element to make sure that you are healthy first and foremost, but those accounts yield anywhere between 9 to 15%. Right? So it's an index account with an insurance company. And to apply for that, you would get in touch with, one of us, myself or Karen, and we could have a one-on-one and see what, if you do get qualified for it. Because it's not like a regular bank account where you just put your social and apply and you get approved for it. This is an application process because it has an element of insurance and savings at a higher interest.
Okay. Thank you for that. Second question. So this one is more, if you have a 401k or let's say a Roth that you've had with your job, can you switch that over to an index account?
No, you can't switch it because they're two different tax brackets. So what we recommend is if someone has a 401k, contribute up to the max. So whatever the match is, if let's say if they're matching it at 4%, then you only put 4%, and then the difference we open an index account. So number one rule, don't overfund your contribution, your 401k, because anything above the match, you're going to fall back into the same tax situation in the future. So if you have a 401k, it's great. Just put up to the match, and then you open a index account.
Okay, so you can't. And what if you were to take, withdraw that money out? And I mean, you obviously could do that, right? If you took that money out of your 401k, but you would be taxed on it. If you're, not the age you should be at to do a withdrawal, but you could do that and you could move money over, but you would be taxed.
Yeah, you would be taxed. You'd have to pay the penalty. And again, this is just general info. So I don't want you guys to think, well, let me go take money out, because we have to have a one-on-one and see the total picture, how that's going to affect. Because I personally never want to pay tax and never want to pay a penalty. So we really have to look at have a holistic picture of your finances, see if it even makes sense. I mean, if we're talking $2,000, then fine. 10% on $2,000 is nothing. But if we're talking large lump sum, then yes, we would have to really look at it to make sure it makes sense.
Okay. There's a couple of questions in the chat. Let me go up. It says, can you go over again the difference between Roth, after tax, and pre-tax accounts and contributions?
Say that again. What's the question? Go over.
Can you go over again the difference between the Roth IRA, after tax, and pre-tax accounts and contributions?
Okay, so with a Roth account, that's tax-free. So when you get paid, you pay your taxes now, and you're going to put your money in the Roth. Now that grows tax-free, so you can take it all out tax-free in the future, which is ideally what we want, right? Because as the money grows, whatever you see, that's what you're going to get, no taxes. 401k on the other end, you do not pay tax now, so you're deferring your tax. You're putting it off for the future. But the problem with that is how much you get to keep if you don't know how much taxes you're going to pay. So all of your tax litter accounts are like your 401k, 403b, 457, IRA, TSP, they're good accounts, but you're delaying paying the taxes in the future, which is unknown.
Thank you for that. And we have one more question. This is really the last question I see in there. It says, how does it affect if you have pre-existing health conditions?
Well, that could tilt the table, and this is why we always recommend people set up these accounts from birth. Yes, even a newborn, as long as you're 2 weeks old, you're healthy. Anything to do with your health, that could have a negative implication, because again, it is tied to life insurance. They're going to look at your health. So If you have pre-existing health, depending on what the situation is, the underwriter will look at that. But if you're healthy, I mean, even if you have pre-existing condition, we definitely want to have a one-on-one so we could see what that is and see if it's something that there would be a straight out decline or a possibility of still getting approved. But anything with health is a concern for them because it's a risk, right? They're taking on a risk that they'll be covering. And we know the older we get, if there's something already lingering there, what are the chances that it could get better or worse in the future?
Awesome. Well, thank you, Odetta. Tyler, I'm going to turn it back over to you to close out.
There was actually one more question. I see it in the chat, so I'll just ask you one more, and then we'll close out from here. Should we wish to retain your services, how do we contact you? I can actually answer that one. I will send over, I think, Odetta, you had a link that Karen had sent me over to with all of your information. So if you don't mind, we can talk, afterwards, but if you don't mind, with her permission, I will share out to everyone who was on this call tonight.
Awesome. And I'm actually going to put my website in the chat, odettaking.com/health and wealth. We do not charge for anything. We're giving free information. This is educational purposes. When we sit with someone, we're not in a situation where you'll be paying us for our time or paying us for services. Number one, our focus is to educate. We look at what you have. We see if there's any holes in your finance. We do everything from birth to burial. So you don't have to worry about paying none of us for anything. There's no monetary transaction, cash, none of that stuff is handling. And for us, it's about looking at what you have, educating you, and seeing better strategies to bulletproof your finance. So I just wanted to put that out there. We don't sell, we educate, and there's no money involved when it comes to paying us. And my website is odettaking.com/health and wealth. We're based in all over the U.S., but my office is in New York, Brooklyn, New York, Flatbush Junction, and I have another location in Fort Lee. We do webinars ourselves every Thursday at 7:30, and we do in-person events. But I would say just get in touch with us, book a consultation, and we could have a one-on-one. Or just, if you want to keep learning, you can come on our platform. And we're always looking for people like ourselves to teach and educate families, because I could only help so many people that I know, but I don't know who you know, right? So we're looking to expand and get more educators on board like ourselves to teach this information to the public.
All right, thank you. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you guys enjoyed what she shared today, just put an emoji in the chat, express your thanks. So we just would like to thank you for sharing everything. I hope everybody learned some good nuggets. That definitely was a lot of information. I definitely took some notes. Again, I will send out an email. I know she